Hello and welcome to Whitehorse Music TV! My name is Richard Badinner and I'm co-owner of this lovely wife with my wonderful shop. No, I've got that wrong. I'm co-owner of this lovely shop with my wonderful wife, Michelle Badinner. Today we're going to introduce to you the wonderful Suzuki Nagoya NS20 model violin, which has been a long-standing stalwart of violin players around the world for learner violinists for many years. I think the company started over 100 years ago. So, yep, Suzuki Nagoya. Oh, I'll play it. And a much newer addition to our violin family, the Struna Classroom violin. Okay, so now first off I'll talk about the Suzuki Nagoya violin. There's another Suzuki violin on the market, the Suzuki FS10 on the Australian market. We're sort of, looking into the NS20 because it's a model that we've had for many years and it's crafted in Japan. Now the Suzuki violins, they're amazingly consistent. Every single Suzuki violin that I get these days looks exactly like this. The grain might be slightly wider or thinner depending on the individual piece of wood, but they're varnished exactly the same every time. The dimensions are exactly the same every time. It's just exactly the same, and it's something that you can depend on. And so, if you were to be living on top of Mount Everest or something like that and you needed to buy a violin and you couldn't come to a violin shop to test a few out, you could say, I want a Suzuki Nagoya NS20 and I want it. And it'll be a Suzuki NS20. And that's the great thing about them. Now they've always been, I've always known them to have quite a bright, ringing sort of a sound, and quite a crisp sort of a sound. And Suzuki teachers have loved the Suzuki violins because of that, because you can go into a concert, you'll be heard and the sound will cut through, and that's a great thing. Although they have changed a little bit over the years, we get a lot of second-hand ones from say 1980 and they'll be quite different to these ones now, but for the last maybe 5 to 10 years they've been pretty much the same every time I've taken one out of a box. Anyway, I'll play it so we can discuss the sound, you and me. Okay, there's that crispness and ringing sound. The great thing about them, when I was growing up there were Skylark violins and there was the Suzuki violins. The Skylark they had crispness and brightness, but they didn't have the depth of the Suzuki violin. So that's actually got some depth to it, and it's got a ringing sound, and it's quite a good sound for a student starting out because it's got that crispness. They use spruce on the front, they use moderately flamed maple on the back and the sides. Nothing sort of super amazing about the quality of the woods that they use on this. But remember, Suzuki do violins right up to very high price ranges, $20,000 and that sort of thing. And so this is one of their student violins. Okay, on to the Struna Classroom. Now this is actually partially my baby, so I'm slightly biased, so ignore my biasness. I've been dealing with a company in China. The luthiers there's 7 people who work on these violins, and the head luthier was trained in an American company, and he's just a violin making genius, much like myself. Anyway, so I went over there a couple of months ago to sort of give my input as to how I'd like them. And these are copies of antique violins, and so it's made to look old. And just the quality of the woods that they can use and the quality of the workmanship that they can put into these violins in China is amazing for the price ranges that they do it in. And the conditions are quite good in their workshop as well. They have very nice tea. It's a sign of good workshop. Alright, so I'll play this one. Okay, so that is a slightly more sort of mellow sort of a sound, where the Suzuki has quite a lot of brightness, especially in the top end. This has a bit more mellowness. Mellowness, I'm not sure that's a word. But anyway, it also has a lot of power, which is good, and what we were sort of aiming at. So maybe I'll compare these two now directly, because I've played one and then taken a bit of a break and gone to the other. I'll play them straight after each other so you can listen to the difference. Okay, so this has quite a bit of sort of ring to it, and quite a bit of clarity to it. It's definitely not as warm sounding as a Struna, but it's got the thing that a lot of violin teachers look for, which is clarity, which is great. It's hard to separate violins like that because you're talking about oranges and apples, and they're quite different. But they're both fantastic violins for their price range, and they both get the thumbs up from Whitehorse Music.